I'm a bit curious to see what will happen, and don't think that I'm telling you guys to go out and do this, but I'm still curious to see, the response from individuals if someone was to go out and do this. I mean, I don't want you to meet your maker anytime soon by, going over to your mother's or your grandmother's or your uncle's or your father's or your grandfather's home and take those little figurines or those pictures of Jesus that they may have on the wall, or so-called Jesus that they have on the wall, and smash them, or throw it on the ground, or burn them up. But we all know what the second commandment is. I mean, when they talk about it, it talks about graven images. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath, or I'm sorry, that is in the water under the earth. And so it makes me think of, when I was growing up as a kid, when I heard that, I understood that, I said, well, graven images, like, are they talking about statues? Because, I mean, you have statues all throughout the country, whether it be of God or whether it be of somebody else. I mean, you go down to, Washington, D.C., you have a monument there, and you also have a statue of Martin Luther King. You go down to certain cities, you have statues of sports players. And who are these statues for? Are they for you? They're for the public. You have these little figurines, these little Jesus figurines. Sometimes they're darker complexion, sometimes they're not. You have statues that are in certain types of churches of the mother of Jesus. And it just makes me wonder about the whole graven image thing. And I used to wonder as a kid, even, like, why, like, is any of this permissible? And, I think if you go to other religions, some will say, whether you went to Islam, or if you went to, uh, Judaism, or if you went to uh, Catholicism, you would get, like, or even in certain Christian sects, you would get very different answers as to what is right and what is wrong in those regards. And you will even have individuals bring up verses out of the Bible or verses out of the Quran in their explanation of it. I feel like deep down, like, all of these things are wrong, especially when you look at what the commandment says specifically. I mean, we go back to it. It's in Exodus 4, even going from 4 to 5, let's say. You have, thou shalt make unto thee any graven image. I mean, I feel like that's self-explanatory. Yet the first thing that people do is they hold on to their figurines, and they hold on to their pictures of some white guy, and they put them on the wall. Even pictures of some black guy. They'll sometimes color in the pictures. And does this actually include pictures, or is this strictly for graven images, carved images, images that resemble the people who were in the Bible, people who were in our lives, uh, animals that are in the sea? But then also, what is the ramifications of it? Where it says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above." Well, I mean, that would be Jesus. Jesus, he is risen. Or that is in the earth beneath. Now, when I think of the earth beneath, I think to myself, people who passed away. People who were historical figures, individuals who, you know, anybody that you can think of that passed away that may have made a great impact on society. People will create a statue to that individual. And then it says, or that is in the water under the earth. So now we're talking about sea creatures and things of this nature, or even imagined sea creatures, right? And then it goes even further, because I thought to myself, well, what about movies? What about movies? The movies that we see, the movies that we see of individuals, of people portraying, all of these individuals. Are these graven images? Does that count? It says, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. And you think, well, how are you bowing down yourself to an object? Well, people do it all the time when they look at that as God. People do it all the time when they have, like a lucky rabbit's foot. I don't know where even that even came from. Or a lucky coin, or a lucky this, or a lucky that. And they put all of their faith and all of their belief into, a certain pair of underwear, or, especially if you're a sports player. You made these gods, and you made them false gods as well. It says, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And showing mercy, we're going to 6, unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Well, I don't see no reason to have these figurines or these pictures or these lucky rabbit's foots or these, fancy little things. And it talks about it also in the book series on the fourth book that we go over. And it makes me think, and it makes me wonder, how wrong are we with this one right here? How tied in is that to the first commandment? It's very tied in. And so we ought to be careful. We ought to tread carefully. We ought to get rid of all of these graven images. And yeah, that's really bold to go into your grandmother's house or your grandfather's house or your aunt or your uncle's or whoever's house and throw down those glass images. But it will be interesting to see their reaction. Because if their reaction is one of, you just destroyed my God, then ask them, where's their faith? And ask yourself, do you have these things inside of your house? Do you have these objects inside of your house? And if so, why? You see, I would bet that me not having these things would do better to please God than if I did have them. And I wouldn't want to have to explain myself as to why I had these things. Because a lot of people would say, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm not one of those individuals. I would rather have to explain why I don't have these objects or why I don't have these things than to explain why I do have these objects or why I do have these things, these graven images. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I believe it to be wrong when you look at it and when you look at it in the hindsight as well. But if you have any other questions, concerns, funny stories, anything you'd like to add, feel free to put it in the comments, especially in regards to this. If you like what I have to say, hit the thumbs up button. If you dislike, make sure you timestamp it right while you dislike. And may everyone have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening.